Hey everybody, it's Cam, and welcome back to another Wizard101 video. In this video, we're going to be going over the Storm magic weaving spells that are currently accessible in Test Realm for you guys to take a look at, and how to use them and what they're going to do for you. So, let's get started. First off with balance. So starting off with balance, you're going to get a dual balance blade storm blade called Tornado Blade. And what it's going to do is plus 35% blades for both schools. That can do an extra buff for you. Of course, Storm's main focus is those blade buffs. The damage spell you're going to be getting from balance is King of Order, which is an AoE that does 370 balance damage. And it also gives you up to two 60% storm blades if you have a damage over time to you. So it's really good if you're facing a fire and you can kind of use what they're good at against them, right? If they put a damage over time of you, use this to do some damage against them, and then turn it into some benefits on your side. Next, moving on to Death, we have Typhoon Attenuate. Death using the negative auras you can put on your opponents, and it's dual Death and Storm, incoming 35% damage that lasts 4 rounds onto the opponent. 1 pip spell, it's really good, that you can use to counter their aura. Already in the damage spell that you're going to be able to use from Death is Chillzilla, which does 625 death damage, as well as you can gambit 3 of your shields for 45% Stormblade. So really good if you're wanting to shield stack and then turn some damage into a blade for yourself to set up your next hit. Alright, next up is Life, which will give you Flood Amplify, a dual aura you can put on yourself. That does plus 30% storm and life damage, outgoing for the next 4 rounds, so a good extra buff you can add on to yourself. Then the damage spell you're going to get from Life is Green Serpent, which does 410 life damage, and then it clears 3 negative wards or traps off of yourself, and can turn all 3 of those into negative 20% weaknesses on the opponent, so a good trap counter that can then diminish the opponent's next few hits on you. So really good if you're facing a myth and wanting to take that away from them. Alright, next moving on to Fire is Boiling Kraken, the first spell we're going to get, which is a 2x gambit of negative wards that you put on the opponent that you can then turn into damage over time storm over 3 rounds. So you can do 2 of those onto the opponent, along with 2 fire damage over time, so last 5 rounds that do 790 damage. So we could use that to get rid of shields, tower shields and stuff like that, and everything to set up some extra damage over time so that you can maybe eventually detonate if you have that ability. And then of course the typical fire damage over time is Lightning Goon, that just gives 1 of each, 375 damage per school, lasting over 4 rounds, that you put on the opponent. Moving on to Myth, whose main focus is traps, is a dual trap, Quake Trap, that does plus 40% each Myth and Storm damage onto the opponent. Again, just another buff spell that you can use. And then the damage spell you're going to get from Myth is Mythic Mermaids, which is an AoE that'll do 595 Myth damage, but it'll also clear 5 negative wards off yourself and turn each of those into plus 30% Storm Blades. So a really good weakness counter that you can use against deaths or someone who's spamming weaknesses on you, and turn it into your positive benefit and do some good damage at the same time. And finally we have Ice, which gives you a dual trap and hail trap, which will do plus 40% damage per school, ice and storm, onto the opponent. Just normal buff that you're going to get pretty frequently from a lot of these schools. And the damage spell we're going to get from Ice is Chillzilla, which will do 550 ice damage, but it'll also clear up to 2 damage over times off yourself and turn it into negative 40% school-specific shields. So a good counter to fire or storm that can do damage over times on you, and use it to reduce their next hit on you, as well as do some damage at the same time. So those are all the spells that are currently out in Test Realm for Storm when it comes to magic weaving in the blended growth. So let me know what you guys think on those ones. If you're going to enjoy them, what you think could be good, what you think could be bad about them, and how you think you would personally use them if you wove into each of those schools from a Storm point of view. And if you did enjoy the video and you want to see more of this stuff, please leave a like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys all next time. Peace.